Well, hello everyone and welcome back to Final Fantasy XIV on PlayFrame. We are here in Little Alamigo once again, but before we continue with the main quest here, I think we are due for a little change. That's right, we are changing our job once again. Our little fellow is now going to be a monk. It feels right going into Stormblood to go ahead and shift into this particular job for a little while, and we've been to Dragoon for a long time. Why don't we go ahead and mix it up? So we're a monk now. Hooray. And thank you once again to Durbin's fairy godparent for this lovely look. I am really enjoying this as just our starting position for a monk. Speaking of which, I'm going to have to relearn how to play monk. That's a problem for future me who's in fights and such. Hello. Let us pray that someone will be willing to speak with us about the resistance. Right, that's what we were doing. Sorry, I was getting changed. Alphino is eager to get to work. So, to review, we are reliably informed that members of the Alamigan resistance operating here have taken receipt of several large shipments of crystals, our task being to ascertain who and why. Given the size of the settlement, I find it hard to believe that anyone here could be wholly unaware of the resistance's movements. The challenge, of course, will be finding individuals who are both able and willing to share such information with outsiders. It would seem sensible to divide our forces. Derman, why don't you question the residents in the eastern half of town? Alice and I will do the same in the west, and afterwards we can rendezvous here to share our findings. Sounds like a plan. I can do that. No, wait, you're irrelevant to this. Sorry. Eastern side of town folk. I have questions for you. Siegfried, questions. Let me guess. Come to join the fight, have you? No need to deny it, friend. You're not the first to answer the Griffin's call. While he's lit a fire in every Alamigan's heart, he's also inspired more than a few Uldans to pledge themselves to the cause. And little wonder, the Garleans won't stop until we're all under their yoke. True, but, Talabot? I see you there, going around, asking questions. Looking for the Griffin and his lot, I'll bet. Seems they're the talk of Little Alamigo these days. Folk wondering what he's about, what he's got in store for the Garleans, and what's under that mask of his, of course. Some say he's hardly got a face, what with all the scars. Others reckon he's been marked for death by the Empire, and that they'd send a bloody legion if they knew he was here. Your guess is as good as mine. Sounds like quite the figure. Anyone else? Maybe they're above me. There's like another floor up here. Yeah, let me check that. Ah, yes. Otelin. The resistance. Damned if I know. It's not as if I'd be of any use to him. If you set store by all these tales of secret weapons, good luck to you, but I'm too old for the mask's bedtime stories. This is our lot, and it's time we got used to it. Hasn't inspired everyone, I guess. I suppose I should ask what you learned, but I think I already know. This Griffin seems to be the leader of a newly formed faction within the Resistance, the Masks. Yet despite their growing popularity, no one seems to know much about them, only that they are the most aggressively militant group to join the movement in recent memory. Indeed, many claim their commitment to the cause of Alamigan liberation is unrivaled. We can but hope their revolutionary fervor is never channeled in the direction of a primal. Though I feel confident that this is the group which received the crystal shipments, we yet lack proof. Before taking any action, I would speak with the settlement's leader to confirm my suspicions, and mayhap enlist his help while I'm about it. Given that you and Gundabald are already acquainted, mayhap it would be best if you took the lead. Shall we? Works for me. Granted, I kind of left a weird impression last time I was here, but maybe he's forgotten. I'm dressed completely differently now. I've left behind my Dark Knight ways. For now. As far as he needs to know. This is a minion you can get, by the way. Just having an old school Final Fantasy cursor just pointing at you all the time. Going up and down the list. It's very good. To hear people speak of him, the Griffin sounds like a man in his middle years. But if that's the case, just what he's been playing at for the past 2 decades. If he's so devoted to the cause, why has he waited until now to do something about it? Unless, of course, he hasn't. Not would please me more than to be wrong about all this. Much as it pleases me to see you again, Derman, I cannot help but wonder if I should be worried. I hear you and yours have been asking questions. The Griffin, I know of him, as do we all. He and his masks have become a leading faction within the Resistance. Though there was suspicion at first, given his secretive ways, he quickly proved himself a charismatic and capable leader, a commander. Men are drawn to his passion and his vision. They truly believe that he has what it takes to lead them to victory. Even I can't help but admire the man for what he's accomplished. But I've not forgotten Wilred. I was blind to the danger of his ambitions, and you were not. The Griffin will soon deliver a speech to our people at the sunken Temple of Karn. Go and see him with your own eyes. Weigh his words with your own heart. How convenient. 'Tis but a pity Thancred's not here to join us. You two go on ahead. I shall stay behind and wait for him. Sounds good. Let's go hear a speech. Here we are. Bit of a mess, this place. Has it begun already? I hear voices coming from within. This place is actually an optional dungeon, by the way. From back in Realm Reborn, we won't be seeing it, but... neat reuse of the location.
Brothers and sisters, 20 years ago, Alamigo, our home, was claimed by the Garlean Empire. In our haste to overthrow the King of Ruin, we turned a blind eye to our foes in the north. With our glorious revolution, we but laid a path for a new tyrant to succeed the old. And when confronted with our failure, we fled. Not a day goes by that I do not think of those we left behind. Think of them and feel ashamed. And I know each and every one of you feels the same. We abandoned them, our own flesh and blood, to labor till their backs gave in and their breath gave out, building the twisted steel ramparts which now mar our once majestic mountains. We abandoned them, the brave and true, to fight and die for their country, or worse, to be conscripted and sent off to rob another poor bastard of his home. We abandoned them, the meek and powerless, to bow and scrape when the Garleans pass, to sully themselves that they might live to see another day of misery. The Black Wolf may be dead, but a new Imperial Viceroy reigns in Alamigo now. A beast, not a fraction as merciful. You all know the Eorzean Alliance will do naught to oppose him. For all their promises and platitudes, they will not act if there's no profit in it. Only we can free our brothers and sisters from the Empire's tyranny, my friends. Only we have the courage to stand and fight. They have imprisoned us. They have enslaved us, and they have murdered us, but no more! Blood demands blood, and the Garleans shall pay for every drop they have spilt upon our lands! This I promise you, for we have a power within us, my friends. A power befitting our pride, our righteousness. Only join us, and we shall grant you the means to unleash it, and together we shall see the Alamigan standard raised over the mountains of Gia Arbania once more!
A power befitting their pride. Not at all ominous, that. Wait, is that...
Well, hello.
What are you two doing here?
I could ask you the same thing.
Well, well, this is quite the surprise.
If you see what I see, if you feel as I feel...
Might I suggest we continue this conversation in more agreeable surroundings?
For it is not strength of arms that will win this battle, but strength of heart.
Well, goodness, it's good to see you two again. Like, in person. Of all the places to meet, it has to be fate. Mayhap it is my imagination, but you seem rather more rugged and world-weary than when last we spoke. A lot's happened, Papalimo. Words cannot express how glad I am to see you both alive and well. And you, though it was pretty obvious you and Derman would be fine. The Crystal Braves never had a realistic chance of capturing any of the Scions, divided as they were and distrusted by the better part of Eorzea. But if you truly believed that, forgive me, what exactly have you two been doing all this time? Repaying a favor. After the banquet, we had no choice but to flee Ul'dah, and we would not have been able to do so without the aid of some old friends from the Resistance. That's right. They smuggled us out of the city and sheltered us in Little Alamigo, all at great risk to themselves. Obviously, we couldn't let that go unacknowledged, so we offered to help them out with their operations for a while. When we learned of the Scion's exoneration, that Lolorito had severed all ties with the Crystal Braves, and that General Raubon had been reinstated, we resolved to make contact. But having long since discarded our link pearls as a precautionary measure, our options were rather limited. To make matters more complicated, we were embroiled in a delicate operation at the time, leaving me with little choice but to entrust a letter to a courier. I gather from your puzzled expressions, however, that you never received it. To be honest, we thought this might happen. While the masks are happy to let the refugees spread the word within the community, they're pretty strict about communicating with outsiders. Oh, and we also heard a rumor that the Griffin doesn't want us meddling in his affairs. The Griffin mistrusts the Scions of the Seventh Dawn. Curious. It is well known that we are no friends to Garlemald. One would think the man who we saw beseeching all and sundry to join his cause would welcome our support. I should say that the man you saw was not, in fact, the Griffin, but an impersonator, and a talented rabble-rouser to boot. It would not surprise me if he were responsible for the majority of these public appearances. As you may have gathered, the Griffin is an extremely cautious and distrusting man who has made every effort to conceal his identity. Even when we participated in a raid under his direct command, we were not permitted to approach him. It's hard to know what to make of it all. The secrecy, the impersonators, the masks. Blank stares. What? It's not as if I'm making all of you wear one, and mine only covers half my face. It's completely different. Ida, I've missed you. Anyway, when we heard the Griffin was due to give a speech, we thought it might be a good opportunity to get a better sense of the man behind the... to get a better sense of the man. For all the good it did. And now you've heard the whole of it. But tell me, what prompted you to take an interest in the Griffin? Summoning? You're not serious. I can't believe it. The Resistance would never even entertain such a ridiculous plan, but the Griffin... Well, the man is an enigma. I cannot say with any confidence what he would or would not do. What I can say, however, is that the speech we heard today was not the first to make reference to a power capable of defeating the Empire. The masks have made many such claims of late. I confess, I had assumed it to be more bluster, but in the context of the shipments of which you spoke, it is not impossible that they are alluding to a primal. Whatever it is, we'll find it together. And if anyone tries to stop us, they'll answer to me. Indeed. That is, assuming you'll have us. Are you kidding? We've missed you two. The gang's finally starting to feel back together. It's great. Do you honestly think he's planning to liberate Alamigo with the help of a primal? I mean, could he really be that stupid? In retrospect, their tale is not so surprising. We had reason to believe that they had escaped with the aid of Alamigan refugees after all. Still, Tataru will be delighted to hear we've been reunited, once we've attended to matters here, of course. Of course. Papalymo has a mind to learn the Griffin's true intentions. If, as you suspect, the Griffin is indeed plotting to summon a primal, we must needs obtain confirmation while there is yet time to act. To that end, I propose we question his double. Given his role as the group's de facto mouthpiece, I should not be surprised if he were one of the Griffin's closest associates. And while he may not be aware of the most sensitive details, he can probably tell us the mask's plans in broad strokes. Like the man whom he impersonates, however, he is wary of outsiders. He will not expose himself without a suitable incentive. My plan is as follows. You and Alphino will pose as adventurers fallen on hard times, inspired by his words to take up arms for a noble cause. Ida and I, as members of the Resistance, will recount tales of your past achievements and testify as to your usefulness in the struggles ahead. With our enthusiastic assurances still ringing in his ears, he'll decide to welcome you in person, and we will arrange a meeting. You will need to look the part that we might maintain the charade until we have him cornered at least. Here, this should be enough to purchase suitable garments from Talbot and to have him rub a respectable amount of dirt on them for good measure. Any questions? I did just get a whole new look. Okay. Fine. It all seems simple enough. Thank you. And with that, Derman, let us be off. All right. Happy to help. Talbot has an assortment of affordable clothing which he sells to the refugees. The sum in that sack should more than suffice, but if it and my name are not enough to secure his cooperation, pay him double. I shall see that you are recompensed. Our identities will be revealed, but it can't be helped. We don't have time for a cleverer approach. So it goes sometimes. All right, let's get a change of clothes. Talbot, I come seeking garb. The dirtiest you have, please. Well, don't look at me. You're the one with a sack of gill. You do have the sack of gill, don't you? I'm so glad I'm stopping to actually read the optional text now. There's so much in there. Huh? You want to buy what? I don't know what you're up to, but I want no part of it. Well, I have a heavy leather pouch entrusted to me by Papalymo. Not all problems can be solved with a fistful of gill. For the rest, one must needs resort to a sack. Well, you're the ones with the gill, and seeing as you're friends with Papalymo. There, tunic and slops for the both of you, tailored and, treated to your tastes. Now off with you, before someone sees us together. Alrighty, thank you. Clothes maketh the man, as they say. Right then, I'll go and change and see you at the spot Papalymo marked on our maps. Alright, I'll go get changed too. It'll have to do. Doesn't look too bad, I guess. We do look the part. And so do you. Look at you blending in. Muss up your hair a little, maybe. Well, look at us. A pair of down-at-heel adventurers seeking a chance to recapture past glories. Yes, this should suffice. And now we play the waiting game.
My thanks, comrades. You must be the esteemed adventurers of whom I've heard so much. I understand you have taken an interest in our cause.
A great interest, you might say. Your words have certainly made quite an impression on my friend and I. The Resistance has long, and some would say wisely, avoided open engagements with the Garleans, but you and yours seem confident against the world in arms. I can only assume you have good reason to be so bold. Why, one might even think you were planning to summon a primal. Because that would do much to explain the sizable shipment of crystals you recently received from your smuggler friends, whom our Ishgardian allies have since detained, lest you wonder.
I'd like to hear more about the Griffin. The real Griffin. Your performance earlier didn't fool us.
The famous scions of the Seventh Dawn. I should have known better than to think I could conceal the truth from you lot. You are right. I am not the Griffin, but I speak with his voice, and it was at his behest that we procured those crystals. You are wrong, however, if you think that we procured them to summon a primal. We used them to reach an accord with the Amalja. In exchange for crystals to summon their god, they will aid us in the fight for Alamegan liberation.
You've got to be joking. Have you gone completely mad? When people find out you helped the Lizardmen summon Ifrit, they'll turn on the Resistance. Alamigo will never be free.
This isn't a fairy tale, girl. We don't have the luxury to play at being honourable heroes. It's because the likes of you wouldn't sully your saintly hands that Alamigo's been under the yoke for the past 20 years. But the Griffin won't stand for it, and neither will we. We're ready to do whatever it takes.
What proof do you have of this arrangement with the Amalja?
What? Aside from a lack of crystals? None. But the beastmen have a great big pile of the things if you fancy looking. You might want to hurry, though. It'll not be long before they summon their god. Search our camp if you don't believe me. We have naught to hide.
If there is a cache to be found, Ida and I will find it.
Then let us be off. Are you perchance the Warrior of Light? Aye. I thought so. You should know that a great many who have joined us did so because you saved them. Because you showed them that one brave man can make a difference. You saved me too once. Helped a friend over in Quarry Mill make some medicine I needed. But that was a lifetime ago. On behalf of my brothers and sisters, I thank you. You gave us hope where there was none, courage and strength when all was lost. We shall not squander your gift.
I know that look, Ida, and I do not like it. You cannot seriously be contemplating taking up arms with that band of cutthroats.
I just...
If the Griffin and his men have their way, it is only a matter of time before the situation in Alamigo comes to a head. Your homeland's future teeters on a knife edge, and any reckless action, however small, could have irrevocable consequences. You mustn't lose sight of that, Ida. When the time comes, we must all make our choices, but we must do so in full possession of the facts. Now, let us away. There is work to be done.
Man, I love this stuff. This is the Final Fantasy XIV stuff I love most. You got characters doing the wrong thing for the right reasons, right thing for the wrong reasons. Just, it's messy and complex, and I love that stuff. Good character drama they're doing here. Quarry mill, he said. Do you remember? Forgive me, you cannot be expected to recall every name and face, and besides, it's not as if it matters. I do remember that, though. I do remember being out in Quarry Mill, out in the Black Shroud, and there were some Alamegans out there who were just finding the Gridanians not helpful at all because the Elementals had apparently told the Gridanians not to help, and the Alamegans were very frustrated with that because one of them was poisoned and sick, and we did end up helping them instead. And that had an impact, it seems. They just do such good story stuff in this game. I love it. I have long admired how you live in the present, how you focus on the problems at hand and always keep moving forward. So let us keep moving forward together, Dermin. We must find and secure those crystals. This is no time for looking back. Right you are, probably. You know what? Wednesday's episode was very long. And there's lots ahead, and I don't know when it's going to stop once it gets going. So let's go ahead and call it a little early today, and then I will see you guys on Monday, and we will continue the main story quest line because it's getting good. Take care, all of you, and I will see you next week. Goodbye.